Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode. Thanks for tuning in. Sitting down here in the basement bait shop trying to get some stuff ready for the holidays. Wife and Hank and Duke are upstairs putting the tree together, and it is just a typical winter day here. I'm looking outside. Just snowy, windy, a crummy day. But a good day to be inside getting stuff done that I need to do. But a lot of you guys around the country are still able to get out and go fishing. And one of the absolute best techniques for this time of the year is the Damiki Rig, aka mopping, aka scrubbing, aka whatever it is that you call it in your part of the country. It's when you take a 90-degree jig head, like the Matt Steffen Dirty Jigs guppy head, which is what this was partially made for, and fish vertically in the water column with a do-nothing minnow style bait for suspended and wintering fish. Absolute killer technique. It seems like depending on where you're at in the country, you call it something different, but it really just comes down to vertically fishing this under the boat and pretty much dead sticking it for suspended fish or right off the bottom for fish that are in very lethargic moods in their wintering state, you know, and you got to just dangle it in front of their face. You're not jigging it, you're not doing anything, you're simply dropping it down and just kind of hovering it at the level where you see the fish at. Great technique for smallmouth, great technique for spotted bass, and it catches some really big largemouth at the same time. You know, the whole key to this is to use a vertical jig head, and one that's relatively heavy, because you want to get it down there to the fish as soon as you see them on your graphs. It is very much a video game type technique. You want to drop it down, get it down there fast, and just suspend it. That's why you want a 90-degree jig head, and then at the same time you want a small profile bait. For me, the 3/8 ounce size guppy head is my go-to when I'm doing this. A 1/4 ounce works really well too, but you got to remember you're fishing anywhere from 20 to 50 feet of water. So by the time you see them on your graph, there's already been a delay. So you want your bait to get down there as soon as possible. And the faster, the heavier the jig head, the better. And once it's down there, the jig head size really doesn't matter that much, because at that point, the bait's just sitting still. So, you know, ideally a smaller profile probably is better, but there's not a big difference between a 1/4 ounce and a 3/8 ounce guppy head. And I don't think it makes any difference to the fish at that point. So it's a technique that you want to do. For me, I'm using it on a 7.3. It's the 871 NSJ 871 from MHX that I get through Mudhole. And I'm throwing it on 6 or 8 pound test, tied fluorocarbon 100% leader, tied to 10 pound test braided line, X9 braided line. And at that point, it's pretty simple. It's about just dropping it down there and keeping it right in front of the fish's face. I do, because I am making those drops, like to use a faster retrieve reel, like the Abu Garcia Revo Rocket. It's just something that allows me to pick up a lot of line and make another drop if I need to. So it's all about efficiency at that point. But when you're fishing it, if you see a fish on the graph, you want to drop it down to about the level they're at and just hold it there. You don't want to jig it up and down. You don't want to move it too much. It's very much about presenting it almost as a dying shad, and just to the point where that fish can't do anything but go up and swim over to it and eat it. And a lot of times the bites are not aggressive. I mean, it's basically like the fish is just seeing it there. And if you ever seen a, cold water lethargic bass, they're not necessarily coming up and engulfing it. They're just swimming up to it, and they'll sit there and look at it. And you'll see this on the graph a lot of times. You'll see your bait, you'll see the fish come up and just sit there, but they never eat it. And all of a sudden then it's just kind of like your line goes tight, and it's like they were looking at it and just kind of grab it and swim off with it. Real slow bite a lot of times. So it's really key to not overwork your bait and just keep it suspended there. From a bait standpoint, for me, it's all about do nothing baits. This is a Fluke Junior, a Zoom Fluke Junior. a real small bait. You don't want you want a tail that'll move a little bit, but you don't want a tail that's going to create a ton of vibration. So the Zoom Fluke Junior is a great one to throw. One of my absolute favorites is the Berkeley Twitch Tail Minnow. As you can see, again, just a straight tail minnow. The Keitech makes the Shad Impact in various sizes. Again, very similar profile to the Berkeley Twitch Tail Minnow. This is a great one. And then you've got what Damiki came out with, which is their Armor Shad. This is the 3-inch size. That's, again, very similar to the Fluke. As you can see, the little fork tail. This is the 3-inch size Damiki Armor Shad that they built specifically for what they've termed the Damiki Rig, but a lot of us have been using, especially up here in the North Country, and we've been calling scrubbing. I know other people call it mopping, but it's a great technique. Great wintertime technique. It's one that's just about trying to locate the shad, locate the fish that are eating those shad, and then at that point, getting your bait down to them and keeping it there in front of them. Some great places to look are along bluffs, along deep points that have a flat spot on the point. If you've got a deep saddle, that can be great. Isolated boulders, isolated rock piles, all really good places to look. If you've got some timber, standing timber in your lake, a lot of times the fish will suspend deep around the standing timber that's around ditch lines and drains, that type of thing. Those are all really good places to look. And it's just a really good bait. It seems like it gets them to bite a lot better than some other baits during the winter. It's definitely one of my top 3 wintering baits. So guys, go check it out. Damiki Rig, scrubbing, mopping, whatever it is that you call it. Get yourself some Dirty Jigs, Matt Stuff, and guppy heads in a short, do nothing minnow. You know, a lot of your drop shot baits will work for this technique. Get out there and find some wintering bass. So give it a try, guys. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and stay tuned for tomorrow's video.